everyone, it's Spramani with Nature Art, the art teacher in San Diego, California. And today I wanted to pop in and do a couple of video shares. I'm going to be talking about crayons today. It's one of the hot topics I'm talking about in my newsletter. If you have not joined my newsletter, you should join it. I send out a newsletter every week and share all my tips and ideas and advice on how to bring art literacy into the classrooms or into your home, basically teaching you how to teach art lessons by meeting the art standards. And if you're new to me, well, welcome. And I hope that you join my newsletter or you're enjoying my newsletter. So crayons are the hot topic today. I have been talking about crayons for the last few weeks because I want you to know that you can actually teach real art lessons just by using a very economical supply like crayons, these guys right here. And I want to talk about color theory, and I'm going to be sharing some color theory ideas and how you can teach that and what that looks like. And in next newsletter, I'm going to be showing you a video on how to do a couple of these lessons. So you'll want to watch this one and you'll want to catch next week's newsletter. You can also find these on my blog too, in case you're not in my newsletter. You can go to my two websites. I have two. I have a Eco Kids Art, which is www.eco.kids.com. And then I have one that's focused on the Montessori pedagogy, which is www.montessori-art.com. So go check those out, and I hope you catch that. So today I'm going to talk about color theory. I'm going to switch my camera, and I'm going to share my my desktop right here and talk about color theory. All right. Okay, so color theory. Here we are. I'm sharing my desktop here, and I want to talk about this because this is really important. I think sometimes when we think about crayons, we think that our students, have it all figured out. And we think that if we give them a box of crayons, they're going to know kind of what to do with that. Okay, for instance, this is a box of crayons and there's a lot of colors in it. Yes, this is fun and exciting for kids to get a fresh, brand new box of crayons, but without the knowledge of understanding color theory, they're not going to understand how to systemize or design really quick. And that's kind of what color theory teaches kids, is what can kids possibly do as far as designing and understanding the color that's in this box. And so that's why I want to talk about that today. And one of the things I know that's missing in most art lessons is actually teaching kids color theory and some basic knowledge about it. So here's a typical 12-step color wheel. You can teach color theory, of course, with paints, but today I'm going to talk about the medium of wax crayons, which I think is important because I talk to a lot of teachers that tell me they cannot afford fancy paints. And so that's why I'm focusing on crayons in this newsletter series. So let's go back to the color wheel. This is a 12-step color wheel. And what I like to basically teach kids at first is there are 3 primaries, which is yellow, there's blue, and there's red. And with these 3 primaries here, that's exactly how we're getting the secondary colors. And when you mix these two, you're getting your secondaries here, which is like your oranges, like your greens, and like your violets. And so that's the first lesson you want to explain to kids, is you can actually take primary red and primary yellow and make oranges. Another thing you want to point out to kids is there's actually warm and cool colors in this color wheel. If you look closely, you'll notice that warm colors are coming here and cool colors are coming here. So that's another thing you can teach your students, is you can create and design in warm tones and you can create and design in cool tones. But without children understanding that or seeing that or being directed to recognize that, it's really hard. So that's our job as the art facilitator, and that is to teach them that the color wheel has warm and cool colors. So when they're going into this box right here, right away they're going to go, oh, I need some cool colors, or I need some warm colors, or I need some complementary colors. And I'll talk about that in a second too. Another thing with color theory is teaching kids not just the colors, but also what colors help each other out in design, and we call that complementary colors. So if you look here, I have some yellow here. A complementary color is a color that's exactly across it, and that's these tones here. So If you want to teach children complementary colors, you're going to say, okay, well, what's the complementary color of yellow? Or what could be a complementary color of yellow? And you want to teach your students to look at a color wheel and go, well, it could be one of these colors here. So if they go into their box of crayons and they're like, well, I think I have this color and I think they complement each other. There's a fun exercise I like to do with students. I like to play a game called complementary colors where I'll take students and I'll look at the clothes they're wearing and I'll divide them into warm colors and cool colors, and we'll pair each other up and say, well, all right, who's wearing complementary colors that will match to friends? And then I'll talk about sports games and sports uniforms, that most sports uniforms are complementary colors. So if you think about the Los Angeles Lakers, they are yellow and purple. And then on and on, you can start talking about different sports, different things that complement each other, like Christmas. If you think about Christmas, Christmas is all about red and green. But look at if you put it on the color wheel, you can see that that is actually a complementary color. And that is why you see a lot of red and green everywhere at Christmas, because they are two beautiful colors that complement each other. So that is my simple lesson to just kind of show you that there is something going on with color that we can teach kids. We don't just want to give them a box of crayons and say, all right, figure it out. Our job as an art facilitator is to actually educate them on color theory. So I don't actually give my students colors like this. I actually like to take it one step further and really explain to them, you know, color is dynamic, it's design. So I actually give my students crayons that are already separated, kind of giving them inspiration and be creative. So when I give my students colors, I don't give them a box of jumbled colors. I actually show them that there is some kind of system to color, and I help them out. Now, guess what happens when I do that? My students get super excited to actually use crayons because they feel like they're artists and they're actually making intelligent decisions. So this is just my tip for today. I wanted to share this with you so you can understand. If you're wondering, like, well, what do we teach kids in color theory? What is color theory? Color theory goes really deep, but this is just scratching the surface. This is very basic, and you can actually teach your students these very basic things. So next video series I do here on the crayons, which will be in a few days, I'm actually going to talk about how color theory teaches children how to do value and understand how to create realistic things. Without these basic principles of color theory, we can't move children into more advanced art lessons. And that's kind of what I want to share with you and teach you in these newsletters I'm writing about crayons. First and foremost, the one thing I want to tell you is crayons are very inexpensive, and you don't have to feel like you need super, super expensive art supplies to teach. Yes, some of my newsletters show really beautiful art supplies, but you can actually teach art lessons with just crayons. So no excuses there. I want you to break out your crayons, and I want you to think about these simple lessons that I gave you. One, I talked about colors in warm and cool. I talked about complementary colors and primary colors. All right, I hope that you try this out and love to hear your feedback. I have more coming, so keep an eye on the next post. I'm going to be sharing, I'm actually going to be demonstrating 3 to 4 of these lessons on how to do it, as far as the value scale and why it's important for kids to go through this and how to use basic crayons to do that. My new drawing curriculum is actually what inspired me to talk about crayons, because in my drawing curriculum, I share all kinds of fun mediums that you can use, but I wanted to make sure that anyone can use my drawing curriculum that I have coming out, which is another reason I wanted to jump on the video, because I've had some people ask me, can we see what your drawing curriculum looks like? So I wanted to share some of those on here on video, just to show you what my new curriculum looks like. So I designed a new 3 to 6 curriculum, and I wanted to share what those pages kind of look like. That way you can decide whether or not this is for you. But basically, I go through teaching some very important principles on drawing. These are the foundational things that kids need to be moving through. And It is all sequential. It has a scope and a sequence where I share all the knowledge on the scope, and every lesson has been designed to build onto the next lesson in a very easy to follow sequential curriculum, and it's sharing and showing you how to use basic art supplies like crayons. So I hope that that will inspire you to check out my new drawing curriculum. I'll share the links for you and you can check that out. I also created, this is for ages 3 to 6. These are designed for young early childhood. I also designed an elementary grade level. And what I wanted to mention is that this lesson plan here is 14 sequential drawing lessons. Sorry, it's very hard for me to see on my camera here. These are 14 sequential art lessons. And then my elementary grade level goes up to 39 lessons. There's a lot in this one. It actually takes you through some of the basic things that teachers need to be teaching for teaching drawing in a very sequential way. I touch and talk about all the elements and principles of design, which is line, form, shape. And I go into some very specific lessons. So my drawing curriculums are, long awaited. I've had so many people asking, when are you doing the drawing? I was actually working on them for a couple of years, but COVID kind of came in and took center stage, and I started doing a lot of digital platform teaching. And now I'm back to focusing on getting these done. There are 5 curriculums in the series that I teach: drawing, painting, color theory, clay modeling, and the next one that I'm working on this summer, which will be done really quick, probably be in spring, is my crafting. And then you'll have the 5 curriculums, which I recommend creates a well-balanced art literacy program. All right, I hope you enjoyed that stuff that I shared today. I'm always happy to hear feedback from my teachers and parents. And yes, I want to mention that teachers and parents, this stuff is designed for homeschooler. If you remember and you've read all my stuff, I originally homeschooled both my kids for 20 years. So I really have a thorough knowledge on what the parent needs at home. So don't think that this is just for the classroom. You can use this at home. All right, bye.